Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor, and today we are going to be looking at some tweets from PlayStation fanboys because the PS5 Pro dropped, and there have been just some truly awful takes about this thing and what this thing can do and the overall performance of this thing. Because I'm a PC guy, right? So I play on PC. It's my main platform. I love PC. I love the freedom. I love the versatility of it. I love everything. I like the ability that I can customize my hardware. I can customize my operating system, my software. I can pick where I can get games from. I'm not locked down to one platform. I don't got to pay for online. I have mods, that I can add into the game to make it better. Games are generally cheaper on PC. It's just better in every conceivable way. Not even in terms of graphics horsepower, but it's just better because I don't got to deal with PlayStation or Xbox's shit, it's up to me what I want to do with it. And I like having that freedom. One of the most common arguments for, I guess, console fanboys against PC is PC gaming is too expensive. These people will oftentimes argue that PC gaming is too expensive to get into. It's too expensive to, I guess, keep up to date, But then these idiots spend, there's this one guy, JTech. I was checking out his Twitter and I was looking at his channel. And he spent money on the PS4, the PS4 Pro, the PS5, and the PS5 Pro, right? He bought all those consoles. You got to ask yourself, between that and the cost of online and the cost of games, it adds up. And having to get a new console every generation, I mean, you don't have to get a new one. I mean, I have a PS5, and it'll be a cold day in hell before I upgrade to a PS5 Pro, if I ever do, because, again, I have a PC. The PC can do everything the PS5 Pro can do. And yes, before you guys ask, yes, my PC would outperform a PS5 Pro. There's no fucking question about it. And it's just ridiculous. Like, it really is. I mean, let me see. On just consoles alone. So, he spent $399 on the base PS5, right? That's $400 back in 2013. When the PS4 Pro released, it was also $400, which I'm glad I guess the reason everybody didn't push back as hard on the PS4 Pro is because you're not paying anything more than the original PS4, The original PS4 was $399, the PS4 Pro was $399. That's $400, right? And it stayed that way, And then they delivered a PS4 Slim. The PS5 drops in 2020, right? And it's $500. So he spent 400 and 400, that's 800, plus another 500, that's $1,300 he spent over a 4-year period, right? Roughly. Or, sorry, over a 7-year period, roughly. You could have built an amazing PC for that kind of money, Even $800 back in 2016, that could have gotten you pretty damn far, In terms of PC hardware back then, that could have gotten you very far. And it would have stomped the PS4 Pro. And then PS5 drops, and then he buys the PS5 Pro, which we all know is $699, $700. So 500 and 700 is 1,200, and over the course of 4 years, that's a lot of fucking money. On just the PS5 to PS5 Pro jump, you're spending like $1,200 there. If you had a base PS5. Not including if you had a base PS5 and then you bought the Slim and then you bought the Pro, right? Because if you did that, either way, you're fucking stupid. If you upgrade to this thing, you're fucking retarded. Because for $200, you're not getting anything really extra. I have a PS5. I have the base model that came out back in 2020, the original model. I bought it when I was in Korea. think I paid like $600 for it, so only like $100 over MSRP, thank God. And me personally, if I didn't even have my PC, right, my gaming PC, I still would not see a point to upgrade to the PS5 Pro. Also, not to mention, I would have to buy the disc drive. If I were to buy a PS5 Pro, I would have to spend the extra $100 to get a disc drive, if I can find one, which right now you can't. I checked, I'm looking at Best Buy, or I'm looking at the PlayStation website right now. It's $80 for the PS5 disc drive, right? And it's not available. It's not available on Best Buy. It's not available on it's not available on Amazon. It's not available on GameStop. It's not available anywhere that I wouldn't have to pay out the ass to a scalper, you know? The only place you can buy this thing right now is on eBay. Like, let's just go to the buy it now section on eBay for the PS5 disc drive. $144 plus 20 in shipping. That is $164 extra dollars you have to spend because Sony decided we're going to make this thing separate. You see, this is the problem, right? And it just would not make sense for me personally to buy a PS5 Pro because all my games are on discs. On PC, all my games are digital, but that's because it's PC, and I can't even remember the last time I've actually seen a disc for a PC game, you know? In fact, I can't even remember the last time I've had a computer with a disc drive in it. That's how long it's been. And even then, when you go to pop the disc in, it's only like probably half the game, because they still got to download everything else. Like, I remember I had Red Dead 2 on my PS4, right, back in the day, and I was trying to play it, and it took 2 hours to download the rest of the game. What came on the disc wasn't even really there, you know, but the reason I like having a disc drive is because as opposed to paying $70 for Red Dead 2, I picked it up at GameStop for like $20 out of their used game selection, and that was $20, and it got me into the game, and I could play the game. That's the only reason I like physical media, because it's a far cheaper alternative to paying full price for the digital game. And that's why I don't ever buy like new games like day one, except for probably GTA 6, but that's because it's GTA 6, right? But anyway, enough of the introduction. Our first tweet here is, again, from JTech. And it says the hashtag PCMR, PC Master Race, fears the hashtag PS5 Pro. And in it, he shows a screenshot of Demon Souls, I believe. But I'm not sure if I can verify that because I've never played Demon Souls. And then I believe it's a response to a previous tweet he made where he said, can a $742 PC handle a game like Demon Souls at 4K 60 FPS? And this is where we get to the problem, all right? One, yes, you can absolutely build a PC that would stomp a PS5 Pro. That is not a new concept, all right? It is doable. Secondly, the PS5 Pro is not playing these games at 4K natively, all right? It's actually playing it at a resolution. What's actually happening here on the PS5 Pro, right, is you have a quality mode and a performance mode. Just like the base consoles on the PS5 and the Xbox, right? You have your quality mode and you have your performance mode. And what these do, right, is quality mode gives you a bump in resolution, but it decreases the frame rates. So you might be playing at 1440p upscaled, right? It's not actual 1440p. But you're playing at 30 FPS, right? For performance mode, it lowers the resolution down even further, and then it upscales the image. But in result, you get a better frame rate, but you get less good-looking visuals, right? Same thing happens on the PS5. On the PS5 Pro. All right, quality mode is a higher resolution with a lower frame rate, but it upscales it to 4K, right? It renders it out to 4K, but it's not actually rendering 4K natively, right? And it has a lower resolution at 30 FPS, and then it throws in ray tracing, right? Performance mode acts the same, all right? It outputs it to 4K it upscales it, sorry, to 4K, but it's not running 4K natively. It's running at a lower resolution with higher frame rates, so that way it can get, it can have more performance to get those higher frames because it doesn't have to render as much stuff as it does in quality mode, you know, so it can get higher frame rates. But it's not native 4K. You are not playing actually at 4K, all right? And then secondly, for his argument that you cannot build a $742 PC that can do 4K 60, well, guess what? There isn't a PS5 Pro either that can do 4K 60 at $700. It's just not happening, all right? But anyway, I made a PC part list based on what I believe to be similar, if not better parts than the PS5 Pro, right? So for our CPU, it is a Ryzen 7 3700X 8-core processor, right? Same CPU that is in the PS5 and the PS5 Pro and the Xbox, right? They're all using AMD hardware. For our motherboard, I went with a B550 for the simple fact that it has PCIe 4 and it's the chipset that came with this motherboard, right? Or with this CPU, pardon me. For memory, I have double the PS5 and PS5 Pro's overall memory at 32 gigabytes of DDR4, right? And it has, I believe the PS5 Pro has 16 gigabytes of video RAM and then like 2 gigabytes of just standard DDR5 RAM for just processes on the board, but you could do far more with this computer. And it's still double the RAM. So for our storage, I went with a 2 terabyte, 2.5-inch SSD that I got for $100. I found it on eBay. It's actually a new one, but it's at a discount. And then I grabbed a 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD for the boot drive, and that was only $28, right? So you're getting 2.5 terabytes of storage. The base PS5 Pro only gives you 2 terabytes, so we're beating it out there in terms of overall storage capacity, right? Now this is where it gets interesting. I got lucky with this one. I'm not going to say this is always going to happen, but if you look hard enough, you can get some pretty good deals on used websites and marketplace and whatnot for video cards. So, for example, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace because I couldn't find any good deal on eBay for the parts for a graphics card, right? And I was looking on Facebook Marketplace and I found this 6800 XT somebody was selling for $305, and all I had to do was give them the $305 and just drive to their house and go get it. It's as simple as that. This isn't always going to happen, but I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can find some pretty good deals on technology on eBay and Facebook Marketplace like I did. So this is a 6800 XT. It has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and this thing would absolutely crush the PS5 Pro. There's no doubt about that, right? For the case, I went with a Cooler Master Masterbox Q300L. It's a micro ATX case. You don't really need a big PC case unless if you're, I don't know, you want that. But it's a nice, small little computer case. It won't take up too much space. And then for our power supply, I grabbed a 550 watt 80 plus bronze certified off of eBay, and they were selling it for $46. The grand total in all for these parts is $730.42. And JTech was trying to say $742. Wouldn't be able to build you a PC that would beat out the PS5 Pro. Well, I just did it for $730. That is $12 less than what JTech was saying you wouldn't be able to do with a PS5 Pro. And this thing would run circles around it. So it is very doable. Like, it is not impossible to build a PC that would outperform a PS5 Pro for not a fraction of the cost, but for about the same money, if not less, you know? So to respond to his tweet, yes, you can build a PC that would absolutely that could handle Demon Souls at 4K 60. And no, I don't really think anybody in the PC space actually cares about the PS5 Pro. And like the console itself, I don't give a fuck about. It's mainly what these idiots are saying it can or can't do, you know. Actually, you know what? No, I do have a problem with the console. It's expensive. It's $700 and you're getting... What are you getting? PSSR? You can get that on PC. We have DLSS and you have FSR. Choose your fucking pick, bro. Here's another one from a guy called D-Batch. And in his tweet, he says, PS5 Pro haters are pathetic. I'm doing 80 to 100 FPS in games. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, 120 FPS locked. God of War, 90 to 100 FPS. PSSR to 4K. That is the crucial part in this sentence. PSSR to 4K. Because if it wasn't for PSSR and upscaling, you would not be able to hit these types of frame rates at 4K. Now I say 4K in quotation marks because remember, it's not 4K. Anyway, continuing though, Stellar Blade PSSR 4K running 80 FPS and higher. Here we go again. The only reason it's able to do that is because it's upscaled. Pipe down. I'm tired of the noise and delusion. It's much better. Just say you hate it because of Sony and be done. I don't hate it. Like, I do hate it because of Sony. They're a dog shit company. You know? What games do you have to play on this other than remasters and all my PS4 library that they're touting, oh, it'll look better on PS5 Pro. Well, guess what? It'll look better on PC too. It always has, it always will, you know? From day one, it's looked better on PC. It's ran better, it's looked better, you could get better resolutions. It's just been better on PC. You idiots are just now getting into, like, frame rates above 30 and 60 FPS. Meanwhile, we've been having this shit for fucking years. And we don't need to upscale the image all the time, you know? Just to get a decent frame rate. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. These people. Here's another tweet from a guy called Tripster. And he says, PSSR is way better than DLSS. It isn't an argument anymore. And then it's from another, he's, I guess, quote tweeting or something like that. From another guy called Foxy Games. And in this guy's tweet, it says, good morning, PS5 Pro, PSSR image quality is so good. I'm choosing it over native 4K modes. Nobody I know who actually owns the Pro and has played its enhanced games expressed disappointment to me. And to think we're in the infancy of Sony's incredible AI tech. Hashtag PS5 Pro. Here's the fucking thing. Alright? Technology has to develop and mature. And again, these guys are only touting that it's better than DLSS because it's a straw man argument and they keep moving the fucking goalpost, right? These idiots say, oh, they know they can't beat us in terms of native 4K performance on a PS5 Pro. It's just not happening. So what do? They have to turn to PSSR because it's the only thing that can get their PS5 to do the thing that they said it would do, right? Now, mind you, it's not native 4K, and the differences are minimal at best. I mean, the only thing you're getting in terms of bumps is a bump in frame rate, right? But for $200, you're getting you're getting upscaling technology for $200, you know? And to me, it's just not worth it, because I'm sorry to say it, but upscaling is never going to look better than native 4K. It's just not, you know? There are... At a first glance, it might not be noticeable, but there are certain differences that running something natively versus upscaling it, you're going to notice. Like, when you run an upscaled game versus a native game, some of the finer details, because it's being upscaled, might not be as sharp or as clear. For example, let me show you a screenshot, right? Take a look at this image, right? This image from a guy called Abstract Concept Mr. Space 3, and it says PS5 Pro getting spanked by a lowly RTX 4060. Who would have thought? Now, the validity of these claims, I'm not exactly sure, but look at the image of the PS5 Pro, right? And look at the puddle in particular on the base PS5. All right, I don't know if it supports ray tracing or not. From the looks of it, not really. I don't even think that's ray tracing. I think that's just a weird way of rendering reflections. It could be 4K, but I'm not sure. But if it is, it's a very rudimentary baseline, like bare bones 4K, because they wouldn't be able to render advanced, or sorry, not 4K, ray tracing, right? So on the base PS5, it's not rendering in the tree or the building in the background. It's rendering in some stuff, but that's because it's got to keep, it can't render as much because it doesn't have as much horsepower to do that, you know? The PS5 Pro has a noticeable difference. You can see, here you see a truck. Here you can see kind of the front end of the truck and the bit of the back, right? But it's a lot, you can see it clearly here, versus here it's kind of there, but not really, right? And then you see some trees and some leaves, and then you see a house here, right? And this image is upscaled, right? And as you can notice, it seems a bit blurry around some of the areas, you know, and the puddle, it seems really blurry. Now, let's look at the PC. You notice how clear that is? Like, hell, you can see details on the PC that you can't even see on the PS5 Pro. Like, look at, especially here, you see that line in the shadow there? You don't get that there. You don't get that type of clarity with the PS5 Pro. The truck looks a lot sharper. You can tell there's a truck there. There appears to be, like, I guess that's the clouds or the sky, you know, there's some more trees here. And then you also see some of the telephone poles reflecting too here. You see the telephone pole there and there. The sign looks a lot clearer. There's leaves on these trees here versus here there are not leaves there, you know. It just looks a lot better on PC. Now, I don't know if this is a 4060. It could be a 4060, but this is also a still image. If it was a video and I could get a look at the frame rate and whatnot, I would instantly be able to determine probably what graphics card this is. But I don't think this is a 4060. I think this is probably a 4090. But going back to the whole argument, right? A native 4K image is going to look infinitely better than an upscaled 4K image. And even then, the ray tracing on the PS5 Pro, it still isn't up to par on what the PC has. The PC still has, we can still dangle graphics above your head. You know, it's not as good as it is on the PC. And you people are paying $200 extra for it. Meanwhile, that PC I built, you know, it would be able to do all that. Mind you, it might not be able to do the ray tracing as good, but most PC gamers don't care about ray tracing. Like, the bottom line is we just don't. It's a feature that NVIDIA implemented, and we're just like, okay, this is a cool thing. It makes everything pretty. But when it takes a hit on the performance, we're just like, we don't want that. We're always going to, the majority of us are going to take frame rates over visuals any day. Here's that tweet from D-Batch earlier, right, where he was talking about the high frame rates. Here's a tweet somebody, I believe, replied in a thread, and it says, it's from a guy called Line TM, and I believe his handle is Boy Genetic or something. But anyway, he says, and it's good that it's locked, but the resolution is still shit in my opinion. I hope the patch will give the resolution of the current 60 hertz mode. And he shows an image of two different images, right? I'm not sure which one is rendering which. The image on the left seems very blurry. And I believe this might be the upscaled image. No, actually. Jesus Christ, these are both trash. Fucking hell, bro. Bottom line is, these both look like shit. Alright? This is your performance mode. Like, when you really stop and take a look at it, the textures look all muddy. You can see some serious, I don't know what this effect is, but it's where it's got the jagged lines, and I think it needs some anti-aliasing to smooth out a lot of these edges here in the performance mode. Whereas with the PC, I can get the visuals of 4K natively, But guess what? My graphics card still has the horsepower to run it at a decent frame rate, like 80 to 90 FPS, like you guys said. That's my average FPS, unless if I'm playing a really graphically demanding game, to which then, like I said, I don't have to turn down the resolution. I can just turn down the individual settings from like ultra to high to a mix of high and medium, until I can hit that 60 FPS mark or that 70 or 80 FPS mark I want for the game to be playable. You guys don't have that option. You have a quality mode and you have a performance mode. And when you put on that performance mode, I hate to break it to you, but the visuals are being rendered at a lower resolution baseline, and no amount of upscaling is going to fix it because it's just going to look muddy and really shitty. A lot of these guys who are buying PS5 Pros and whatnot are also buying like $1,400 4K TVs like the one I have behind me. This is an LG C2. I remember when I bought it, it cost me like $1,200. Half the cost of my overall PC. So $700 and $1,200, fucking expensive, man. Something console gamers love to do is they love to say, oh, well, you need TV or you need a monitor to play your PC games. Yeah, but if you want to use any of these fucking advantages, right, you got to have a 4K TV and it's got to have a high refresh rate. Otherwise, you're just going to be playing at 60 FPS the entire fucking time, and it's got to support variable refresh rate, and that doesn't come fucking cheap, but we're just going to completely forget about that part, I guess. So when it's all said and done, because these people love to include the cost of operating system, monitor, mouse, and keyboard, all the peripherals you need, right? You're looking at a pretty fucking penny here because, let's face it, trying to get into this fucking ecosystem is expensive. Versus PC, all you need to do is build the PC, get a fucking Steam account. Games are cheaper, so if you can get a game on sale, get it on sale, And it'll just look better and play better. And that's another thing I hate about just console manufacturers in general. They've been doing this shit for almost 10 years now, I remember they did this shit when the Xbox, the One X, right? And I remember they said, oh, it'll play 4K at like 60 FPS or some stupid shit like that. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I remember Colt Eastwood was he was fucking riding not Sony. He was riding Microsoft's meat hard, And then they said the same thing with the PS4 Pro. It'll hit 4K 60 FPS, and you know what? Half the time these things can't even hit 4K natively. Never mind 60 FPS, And then all these console guys are touting, oh, it's gonna be. I remember back in the day, it was, oh, it's gonna have the power of a 1080 Ti, Meanwhile, they're still struggling to hit like 1080p fucking 60 FPS on the base consoles. And they're shooting for the stars, and they're hitting fucking the sun, and they're burning up, They did it with the PS5, I remember, and the Xbox One X, They said, oh, it'll be the power of a 3090, and then it comes out, and it's like roughly the same power as a 5700 XT, A card that came out in 2019. And then they're doing it again with the PS5 Pro. Oh, it'll be the power of a 4090. It'll make PC gaming obsolete. It's the same song and dance every fucking year. And then when they revealed the price, right, they couldn't use the price argument anymore. And I remember Reforge Gaming, he was really, he's the one who fucking said this. He was like, oh, you can't build a PC or buy a pre-built that will cost the same as a PS5 Pro, that'll do the same as a PS5 Pro. And then all the PC gamers are like, fucking bet, just as I did. Like, fucking give us that challenge. You're giving us $200 fucking dollars extra to work with. You know what we could cram in $200? And you're lucky I didn't include the disk drive or the fucking stand, because if I included those, I probably could have walked away with like a 3080, but I would have been bottlenecking the CPU at that point. Because mind you, this is a CPU that came out in 2019, right? This is Gen 2 Ryzen, the 3000 series Ryzen, right? It would have bottlenecked it, but you can't fucking say that. I guess what I'm trying to say is you're not going to get a PS5 Pro for the amount of money that can hit 4K natively at 60 FPS. All right? If a PC can't do it, your PS5 Pro certainly fucking ain't doing it. Here's another screenshot that I grabbed from a guy called X Vault Gaming, X Vault 2 as his handle, and he took, I guess he's replying to a tweet from this guy called Wario64, because Valve released a white OLED limited edition Steam Deck, which I'm gonna be honest with you, this thing looks dope as fuck. I have a Steam Deck. I fucking love it. It is amazing. He says, let me help the Xbox fanboys and shills, and I'm assuming by shills he means PC gamers. And he says, in quotation marks, "Who's this for? This is overpriced. Where is the disc drive? Does it come with a stand?" First of all, who is this for? Target market audience? Not you. That's for damn sure. This is for PC gamers, all right? This is what it's for. This is for us. This is not for you. This is for us. You know, the Steam Deck gives you the ability to play a vast library. I don't want to say your entire Steam library because some games work better than others. Some games have better support, but I'd say about 90% of my Steam library is playable on my Steam Deck, you know? It's just amazing. And for the price that you're paying, $679, that is absolutely worth it. It's a portable device. It has the power of a PS4, right? You can play your games anywhere. And you have such a vast library of games, you know? You can play emulators, you can play your Steam library, you can play more PlayStation games on a Steam Deck than you can play on a PS5 Pro. Because you got your entire back catalog of PS4 games that just have native PC ports, you know, like Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted, you know. You can play emulated games, like on PS3 and PS4. So you can play all those games. You can play all the new PlayStation games. I paid $300 for mine. I paid half, and mine has 500 gigabytes of storage, but I use it for emulating, so I'm not even close to utilizing the entire 500 gigabytes of space on that thing. But anyway, back to the tweet. This is overpriced. I literally just explained why this is not overpriced and what it can do. Where is the disk drive? Now, this is the funny part, because while you don't need a disk drive, it's got a USB-C port, as you can see right there, next to the power button. You can plug in a USB-C dock or just a dongle. So what I did is I grabbed a USB-C dock that allows me to connect a bunch of external devices, right? And one of those external devices you can connect is a disk drive. You can go grab any fucking disk drive. Like, they're probably like $5 on Amazon. Go grab one. You don't got to pay $80 for it. Boom, there's your disk drive. Problem fucking solved. Does it come with a stand? I don't know if this one comes with a stand, but I do know Valve makes a stand for it. You don't need a stand. Like me, I don't have a stand for mine. I just have, like I said, the USB-C to USB adapter, and that works just fine for me. But there is a stand. You don't have to buy the stand, but that's not what this thing is for, right? It's not meant to be really stood up. You can stand it up. Like, I have mine connected to a capture card so I can record PS3 games and PS2 games and any other game I can think of. But it's primarily meant to be a handheld on-the-go system, and it does that superbly, you know. To help you, X-Vault, it's not for you. It is definitely not overpriced. I get far more usability and functionality out of it. I can play far more games than you ever can. It doesn't really need a disk drive, but if you want a disk drive, you can go grab one for like $5 and a USB-C to USB adapter, and you're off to the fucking races. It doesn't come with a stand, but again, it's a handheld gaming system. It doesn't fucking need a stand. But if you want a stand, they make a stand, or like I said, you could just use a USB-C adapter and it'll perform the same fucking function that a stand would. So what was the point of this tweet then? I think he's just mad because he's just trying to get back at us for saying the PS5 Pro is overpriced. And it is overpriced. It is. Let's fucking face it. You're paying $200 for PSSR. That's all you're fucking getting out of this is PSSR. It's the main fucking feature is PSSR. The PSSR is doing all the groundwork for this shit. There's no, like, there's an old saying, a fool and their money is soon parted. And that's genuinely what I think it is. These people are just fools with their money, and let them be fools, I guess. You know, if you want to spend $700 on an inferior machine that all it does is upscale images, then go for it. But if you want to be smart, I'd say just if you can, don't even buy the PS5 Slim. Go buy a regular PS5 off of eBay or Marketplace or something, and you're off to the races because you're not getting anything for that extra $200 anyway. This thing isn't hitting 4K 60 FPS natively. It's making some serious compromises. And for $700, I don't think I'd be wanting to make compromises if I'm paying $700 for the Pro model of a fucking console. I think they're just trying to justify the fact that they wasted $200, and yet again, Sony got away with it, you know? They said 4K 60, and would you look at that? PSSR comes in just in time to save the fucking day. Bottom line is, if you have to use upscaling technology to do a thing that you said you were going to do, you are not doing that thing that you said you were going to do, all right? You are not hitting 4K natively and to hit 60 FPS, all right? You are not rendering 4K 60. You are rendering some weird fucking resolution in between that's not even close to 4K, but would look just good enough that when they upscale it, it'll seem like 4K. All right? It's like imitation crab, all right? It's not actual fucking crab. It's fake crab. It's imitation 4K. It's just, oh my fucking God. Anyway, we're done with this. I'm done with these people because they're fucking stupid. And these idiots love to play Twitter, by the way. These idiots don't play games, all right? They play fucking Twitter, okay? And I'm going to show you some proof of that, right? Here's JTech TV, one of the most, I feel like he's a very outspoken Sony pony, PlayStation guy, right? And here's why I say they don't play video games, they play Twitter, right? Because I just noticed, I was looking at it, and I'm like, 38 minutes, 27 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, when does this dude actually play fucking games? Like, at 3:12 a.m., all right, 38 minutes before that, he uploaded Killing Campers on Star Wars Battlefront 2 on my PS5 Pro at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So this was, what, 1:38 when I saw this? 27 minutes later, he said, I love hashtag Monster Hunter World. All right, cool, great, sweet. Now let's look at this one. A little bit after that, right? Like not even, I'd say 10 minutes after that, right? He replies to a guy named Porter Rock. And then literally a minute later, he posts again. Playing hashtag Wipeout HD on my PS5 Pro in 4K, HDR at 60 FPS. That is 4 tweets in less than an hour. Bruh. At the time I gathered these screenshots, this motherfucker has posted 4 fucking tweets in less than an hour. And you want to tell me these people are gamers? These people are not gamers. I want to know what possesses somebody to put this much time and effort into a corporation. Like, I'm a PC gamer, but I'm not sitting here fucking reposting and posting about everything AMD or Nvidia or Intel or Corsair or any of the other fucking companies, Asus. I'm not reposting everything they do every 5 minutes, right? Because, you know, I'm busy playing games. I have a job. I have a life, right? I have a life. Jesus Christ, man. So, these people are delusional. They're insane. And I believe they need to be called out for their stupidity, ultimately. And I guess I'm going to start throwing my hat into the ring along with many other people I know of, like Joe from Seattle, Fratanga, Klutzy King, Sneaky Cacti. He's the one I watch a lot. But I feel like we all agree that these people are just fucking insane. How do you put this much time and effort into cheerleading for a corporation that doesn't even know or even give a fuck that you exist? It's not like you have stocks in this company and it's not like you're a fucking shareholder. You're not getting anything out of this. They're not sending you a check. So why do you people do this? It's stupid. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. If you guys like the video, like it. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. All you dudes and dudettes have a nice day. And remember, don't do nothing that I do. Peace.